Pat, what do you think of the Baker Mayfield performance last night in terms of the Heisman race?
I mean, he's played very well. He and Dede Westbrook have now gotten this just sensational combination going there. I think he's got a long way to go from a Heisman perspective. You know, I think that there's several people lined up in front of him. I mean, big stats against Iowa State are not necessarily going to dazzle anybody, especially with the 2 losses on the resume there. You know, I think Lamar Jackson's head of the class. I think there's a couple defensive guys that need to be in the argument. Jabrill Peppers from Michigan and Jonathan Allen from Alabama. Jake Browning from Washington, Deshaun Watson from Clemson. And then here could be an intriguing twist, Andrew. If Leonard Fournette has a really good game Saturday against Alabama and LSU finally beats Alabama, could he get in the Heisman race while missing 3 or 4 games with injury? Could you play 8 games and still win the Heisman? I think that'll be something people will consider if he has a big game, which is easier said than done.
Right. Well, let's get to that. Do they beat Alabama? Is this Leonard Fournette's and LSU's statement this weekend, Pat?
I don't see that happening, but it's intriguing. I mean, there's so many elements that go into this. You got Ed Orgeron, America's interim coach, trying to make some argument for why he should get the job full time. I don't think he has any argument unless he wins this game and they finally beat nemesis Nick Saban. But Alabama, boy, they are awfully good. I've seen them in person twice against USC and against Texas A&M, and the defensive front 7 is unbelievable. I will say, if Leonard Fournette has a good game against that defense, then that's very, very impressive.
Well,
Last year, they just ate him alive. He had 19 carries for 31 yards, so it's going to be tough.
Sorry to cut you off there. 2 things. He could get the Heisman, or if they have that big game. Does Orgeron get the job, Pat, with a win?
They have to at least talk about it and think about it, I mean, I don't think that's been the mindset, but the things he's got going for him, obviously he will have beaten Nick Saban, which Les Miles couldn't do for the last 5 years. He's a Louisiana guy. He's a born and bred Cajun. He's got a ton of local support. I never think those are good reasons necessarily to hire coaches. The local ties don't necessarily mean you're a good coach. But if you win this game, if you can go undefeated as the interim coach, that would change the tenor of the whole discussion, I think, significantly.
Pat Forde from YAHOO. Want to back up for a second here, Pat. You mentioned Jabrill Peppers. The guy's fantastic. I don't care which side of the ball. You can't take your eyes off him when he's on the field. Does he have a legit shot at the Heisman?
I think if they go undefeated and he keeps making productive plays on both sides of the ball, especially offensively, since that's where people gravitate in terms of statistics, then I think he does have a shot. If they can get him, break a couple more special teams plays, and then you're looking at kind of the Charles Woodson situation from a long time ago, but 20 years ago. But he needs to be productive in all facets, and they probably need to be undefeated. But both of those things could happen.
Because I know I was watching the Louisville game last week, and when Lamar Jackson throws a touchdown in Charlottesville, a group of people I'm with all went, Heisman, it's over.
Right now, I would say he's by far the leader. I mean, I think that he is the best player. He's having a fantastic year, and he's helped take that program to another level. But they don't have a lot of marquee games left. And if it's all of a sudden Leonard Fournette's showing out against Alabama, or Jabrill Peppers is playing great against Ohio State, those are stages that Lamar Jackson doesn't have left on his schedule. And I think voters may tend to look around a little bit more as the season goes along. But as of right now, if I had to send in a ballot, it would be Lamar Jackson, without a doubt.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.